A single gunshot on Chicago's South Side didn't just take a life, it detonated a cultural earthquake that rewrote the rules of drill. When Odee Perry was killed at 20, Parkway Gardens became O Block overnight, and a neighborhood war turned into the most infamous name in hip-hop. Suddenly, every line drawn across 64th and 63rd was soaked in legend, every diss track an echo of a street feud that changed rap forever. But how did the death of one young man spark a legacy powerful enough to change music worldwide? And why are both fans and rivals still obsessed with what happened on that August night? The story begins where the city's deadliest boundary lines meet. 64th and King Drive cuts through the South Side like a border drawn in concrete. Parkway Gardens, a cluster of red brick buildings wedged between 64th and 65th, sits right on that line. For decades, it was just another set of apartments, rows of walk-ups and mid-rises built in the 1950s, meant to be a safe haven for working black families. But by the early 2000s, the place had changed. The old sense of community faded, and the block became a pressure cooker, crowded, underfunded, and boxed in by rival crews on every side. Directly across 64th, just a short walk east, sits 63rd and St. Lawrence. That's STL/EBT territory. The two blocks are so close, you can see faces in the windows across the street. On one side, Parkway Gardens, Black Disciples turf. On the other, STL/EBT, Gangster Disciples. The lines aren't just drawn on maps, they're marked by who stands on which corner, who gets to walk down which alley, and who has to keep their head on a swivel just to make it home. The geography breeds tension. There's no buffer zone, no neutral ground. Kids from Parkway Gardens go to school with kids from STL. The bus stop on St. Lawrence becomes a checkpoint. Even the corner stores are split, one side for O Block, one for 63rd. Every day, movement means risk. Step too far off your side, and you're in enemy territory. The buildings themselves are built for conflict. Long courtyards, blind corners, stairwells that echo with every footstep. The design that once promised safety now helps people disappear. By the time you hit the sidewalk, you're already being watched. This isn't just about blocks on a grid. It's about pride, survival, and old beefs that never die. Geography doesn't just shape the conflict, it guarantees it. The streets force everyone to pick a side, even if all you want is to make it through another day. On 64th, the line between home and danger is only a few steps wide. Odee Perry was born in 1991, right in the middle of Parkway Gardens. He wasn't known for rapping or chasing clout online. Around the block, his name carried a different kind of weight. People saw him as a protector, someone you wanted on your side when things got tense. In a place where every day felt like borrowed time, Odee moved with purpose. He kept his circle tight, but his reputation stretched across more than just his own building. Older guys recognized his loyalty. Younger kids watched how he handled himself and tried to copy his moves. He was quiet, never the loudest in the room, but you could count on him to step up when it mattered. Odee looked out for his friends, made sure nobody from his side got left behind, and never hesitated to defend the block when rivals rolled through. Word was, if you were walking Parkway Gardens late at night and Odee was around, you could breathe a little easier. He knew every corner, every shortcut, every face that belonged, and everyone that didn't. Even people from outside the neighborhood talked about him. Stories about Odee moved through the city, sometimes twisted, sometimes true, but always with the same bottom line. He was someone you had to respect. That respect didn't come easy. It came from standing on the front line when things got dangerous, from being the first to jump in when his block was threatened. Odee didn't just survive in Parkway Gardens, he set the tone. In a world where everything could flip in a second, his presence gave his side a sense of security. That kind of presence doesn't go unnoticed. It paints a target on your back, but it also cements your name in the story of the block. For Odee, holding down Parkway Gardens wasn't just about territory. It was about family, loyalty, and making sure his people had someone to count on when it mattered most. On January 12, 2011, 15-year-old Shondale Gregory, known as Tuka, left school with a suspension letter in his pocket and a promise to his mom that he would be home soon. He never made it. Just before 7 p.m., as daylight faded on 63rd and St. Lawrence, Tuka waited at the westbound bus stop, a regular hangout for STL/EBT kids. A dark car rolled up. A masked figure stepped out, asked about the bus, then circled behind the shelter. 4 shots rang out. Tuka staggered, tried to run, but the shooter kept firing until he dropped by a trash can. The attack was surgical. No stray bullets, no wounded bystanders. The shooter got back in the car and disappeared into the night. Word spread in minutes. FBG Duck rushed to the scene and found his friend's body, still surrounded by police tape. STL/EBT didn't just lose a member, they lost a little brother. That corner became Tukaville. The name was spray painted on walls, shouted in songs, and stamped on social media profiles. For STL, Tuka's death wasn't just another statistic. It was a line in the sand. The bus stop turned into a memorial, but it was also a warning. Retaliation wasn't an if, it was a when. The cycle had started, and both sides knew it. Tuka's name became a rallying cry, fueling a new wave of revenge that would echo across 64th and 65th for years to come. August 10th, 2011. The heat was still rising off the pavement as Odee Perry rolled through the block on his bike, cutting across King Drive near Parkway Gardens. For most, it was just another night on the south side. For Odee, it was the last. He had built his name holding down that stretch of buildings, never flashy, always steady, never ducking a threat. That kind of reputation doesn't just get you respect, it gets you watched. Close to midnight, Odee was spotted near the corner store, moving with the same routine that made people feel safe when he was around. But this time, someone else was watching. A shooter stepped out from a car, moved in, and let shots fly. 2 bullets hit Odee, one in the neck, one in the back. He dropped his bike, tried to get away, but the damage was done. Witnesses said it happened fast. No warning, no words, just gunfire. Rumors spread quick. Word on the street pointed to Gakira Barnes, K.I., a teenage girl from 63rd, already known for carrying out hits. Police reports circled her name, along with Boss Trell, as the ones who pulled the trigger. Odee's friends rushed out as sirens wailed, but there was nothing left to do. He was 20 years old. The block he died protecting would never be the same. By sunrise, Parkway Gardens had a new name, O Block. Every kid, every corner, every song would carry the weight of that moment. The line between legend and loss had been drawn in blood. O Block wasn't just a new name for Parkway Gardens, it was a declaration. Within weeks, the word started showing up in lyrics, Twitter handles, and street stories. What began as a memorial for Odee Perry turned into a rallying cry. Chief Keef, already making noise on the south side, dropped early tracks like John Madden and 3 Huna in late 2011, giving listeners a taste of the block's energy, but it was more than just a shout-out. Every time Keef or Durk mentioned O Block, it was a stamp of authenticity. The name started moving through the city, then out to the suburbs, then across the country. Lil Durk and King Von doubled down, weaving O Block into their bars, interviews, and social media. Von's storytelling made the block feel like a character, raw, unpredictable, and legendary. By the time Welcome to O Block dropped in 20, the name had already circled the globe. Kids in London, New York, and Paris were quoting lines about a stretch of Chicago concrete they'd never seen. Drill fans wore O Block hoodies and rapped along to stories of a place built on loss, loyalty, and survival. What started as a street memorial for a 20-year-old became a brand recognized from Chicago to Europe. O Block wasn't just a location anymore. It was a movement, a symbol, and a warning, all wrapped into one word. On August 10, 2011, Odee Perry was shot and killed near Parkway Gardens at just 20 years old. His death led directly to the renaming of the block as O Block, a name that soon appeared in dozens of drill tracks by artists like Chief Keef, King Von, and Lil Durk. The police reports and local media confirm Odee's role as a central figure in the early STL, EBT, and Parkway Gardens conflict, but the official investigation into his murder remains unresolved. While rumors have pointed to Gakira Barnes as a likely shooter, no one was ever charged. What is clear from documented lyrics, interviews, and social media is that Odee's story changed the landscape of Chicago drill. Today, O-Block stands as a symbol recognized worldwide, its origins tied to a single night and a single loss. The influence of that event echoes through music and culture, showing how one life and one death can reshape a city's sound and legacy.